Hi Frank, so as you requested, I'm just putting through a short video about how to use this particular camera. So this is your new Braun Paxette. It comes with a very convenient case that I suggest you use, as this camera doesn't have strap lugs. You unscrew this and it will allow you to remove the camera from the case. To load film into this, this is an old-fashioned but extremely effective film loading mechanism that protects you from getting light leaks, which is a very common issue with lots of old film cameras. But the way that this camera is designed, you'll have no light leaks whatsoever. So this is how you open this up. It'll turn many times until it sort of gets loose, and then this bottom of the camera is going to just slide off. So what you do here is, you'll notice this flap. Put that down. Take your roll of film, stick it here onto the spool. Right. String it across. You'll notice this slit here with a little notch. Make sure the end of the film goes in here and catches on that notch. So it catches on that notch and catches on this notch here, and then that's it, you're done. Now you fold this back. If you notice, this keeps it in place by holding onto these notches here. That's the pressure plate. And then get this back on. This should fit well into this, and as you tighten this, tighten it as far as it will go, and this is how you load the film in it. Now once you've loaded the film, you have to manually bring this wheel by turning this screw like this. You bring it to this red mark, which is the 0. So how this works is, this is the shutter button. So we cocked it once while loading it, so there goes the shutter speed. You have to do this twice to advance the film 1 frame. If you can see, this has a reverse countdown. So each time you advance this, it's counting down. Okay, so this is about loading the film and the basic operations. Now a little more advanced. I told you that this is a zone focusing camera, so there is really no way for you to, nail your focus visually. But this that you see here is the distance scale. Okay, so the way you use this camera is, you estimate the distance from your subject and you set that on this scale here. So suppose your subject is, let's say, you're taking a portrait and the person is, let's say, 1.5 meters away from you. You put this, you set this to 1.5, compose your image through this, and then just take the picture. Okay, now what exactly is zone focusing? there are plenty of articles that you'll see on the internet that tell you about zone focusing and how to zone focus. But here's the here's what it is about. Now, as you might be aware from your previous experience with film cameras, the wider your aperture, the narrower is your depth of field. So this that you see here is actually the depth of field scale. This is the depth of field scale on this camera. So suppose you set your aperture to f2.8, right? The way it's set right now, this little thing is the aperture marker. So now it's set to f2.8. Pretty much, so here your everything from 2.8 here to 2.8 here will be within focus. So the way that this is set right now, if your aperture is set to f2.8, then anything from 2 meters to approximately 2.5 meters will be in focus. It will appear sharp. Now, how I've been using this in the wild is I've usually been shooting it at an aperture of f5.6 or f8. Because again, when you talk about estimating distances, you eyeball it. I think, all of us have a margin of error there, and you may not be able to accurately say that someone's exactly 2 meters and 65 centimeters away from you. So what I normally do is I set this to f5.6 or f8, and what that gives you is, if your aperture is set to f5.6, you'll notice a much wider focus zone. So everything from, at this point, everything from 2 meters to 3 meters is going to be in focus. F8 means everything from 2 meters to 4 meters almost is going to be in focus. And if you're shooting an ISO 400 film on a reasonably bright day, like a sunny day, then you do what I did, just set it to f16, and everything's going to be in focus. Because if you look at f16 here, if 1.5 meters at one end, your infinity is nearly in focus. So it takes a little getting used to, but after a while it just becomes intuitive. Like you set your aperture, you calculate your exposure, you set the shutter speeds here. This diamond is the marker for the shutter speed, and you have speeds from 25 to bulb. You just set your speed. If you're walking around, you decide, hey, how far is my subject? Approximately 4 meters. Yeah, okay, here you go. Which means at f16, everything from about 2 meters to infinity is going to be in focus. So that's pretty much it about this particular camera. It's a great camera to use, a really fun camera. And I hope you enjoy it. So yeah, just one more thing then. How do you unload the film? So as you can see, there's this button over here. What you need to do is just press this button. You need to pull this out, press this button, and you'll feel this turning. Okay, so now the tension's gone off, so it means that the film has come off from the spool, and then you go through the same steps here, you unhinge the body, and there is the film that I have successfully unwound. So great camera. I've enjoyed this very much. For a camera that was made in the early 1950s, it's really, really amazing. I think at some of the narrow apertures like f5.6, f8, if you're using a fine grain film like Delta 100 or Delta 400, and it's processed in one of those fine grain developers, it'll give you results that are really amazing. It'll give you results that are almost as good as shooting digital these days. Enjoy this camera. It's tiny. It's a marvel of engineering. Even holding it in my hands right now, I'm having second thoughts about parting with it. But it's yours now. Enjoy.